The Story of Josanna. By Eric Hua. Chapter 1, Haven. Tucked away in the small country of Agnulo, was a village known as Haven. The population of this village was just below 100 and the demographic of this place varied greatly. The reason was because nobody was born in Haven. Everyone here was considered to be an outcast. Thrown away from their original home for whatever reason, but were given another chance at life here. That was about the only thing everyone in the village had in common. Because of their low numbers, everyone had to work together in order to survive. The adults only made up about 1/3 of the population, so sometimes even the children had to pull their own weight and take on greater responsibility. It wasn't easy, but through their hardship, the people of Haven built a strong sense of community that was difficult to find. Every night before the town would head home, all the children would gather at the center of the village to hear stories told by the great storyteller. He told many heroic stories with great passion. There was one where an unlikely hero emerged from a no-name town to slay a 10-foot-tall giant. And another where a great warrior was trapped in a snow-filled pit with a lion and somehow defeated his adversary. These were only a few of the many stories that the tale-teller had shared. Like any other evening, all the children swarmed in and sat down. As the children were waiting eagerly for the storyteller to arrive, a young adult lady was doing a quick head count. Not only was she a fast counter, but she knew right away one child was missing from the group.
Now where did that little Josanna run off to?
She thought to herself and then had a feeling she knew where she would find her. Before leaving to search for the child, she told one of the other adults to watch the children as she quietly left the scene. There were 2 adults standing at the gate of Haven. This was the only way for anyone to enter or leave the village. It was also a well-known law that no one was allowed to go beyond the village during the night. Hiding in the bushes not too far away from the entrance was a girl, who was plotting a way to distract the guards. In her right hand, she held a hamster that she was giving careful instructions to.
All right, little guy, you know what to do. Go out there and work your magic.
After releasing the hamster from her hand, it immediately ran towards the 2 adults standing at the gate. One of the men stood still, continuing to remain vigilant, but his comrade decided to look to the ground and saw the rodent approach his feet. The man ran in circles flailing his arms, which startled his partner. The one who did not have a phobia of rodents tried to calm his friend down, but it was to no avail. The man continued to scream and eventually he would run into the village while the hamster chased him. This forced the other guard to abandon his post and follow his partner, leaving an opening for the girl to sneak out. She smirked, looking back at the 2 men she easily fooled, but because she wasn't looking forward, her face bumped into the abdomen of someone else who blocked the entrance. Josanna turned around, looked up and immediately anticipated a full-on lecture.
Oh, hey, Esther! Fancy bumping into you here? I was just on my way to the fable teller.
Josanna said unconvincingly.
That's in the center of the village. In the opposite direction.
Oh, I knew that. I was just taking the scenic route.
Esther shook her head, knowing that little Josanna was lying. She was ready to lose her temper and give her a lecture when suddenly they heard someone shout from behind. It was the 2 men returning to their post and they were furious.
Hey, what is that little girl doing over there? The rules state that no children are allowed to venture anywhere near the gate or beyond past sunset.
Yeah. Any rascal caught breaking the rule is subject to dire punishment.
The 2 men were ready to apprehend Josanna, but Esther stepped in for her.
I'm sorry to bother the 2 of you. We were heading to hear the tale-teller, but I decided to take her through the scenic route.
Esther was a well-respected figure in the village and along with her kind demeanor, the guards decided to let young Josanna off with a warning this time. Esther thanked the 2 men for their kindness and they returned to their post. When they looked away, Josanna immediately stuck her tongue out and made a face at them, but Esther immediately pulled her away before the guards could see. As Esther was walking Josanna back to her resting place, there was an awkward silence for a moment before one of them decided to break the ice.
Josanna, you know you aren't allowed anywhere near the gate.
Yes, I know. I already heard it from those dumb guards.
Then why did you do it?
Josanna continued to remain stubborn and didn't reply. Esther realized that her strict demeanor was not working and decided to take another approach. While Josanna wasn't aware, Esther picked up a pebble nearby and threw it at her, yelling,
Think fast!
Josanna reacted just in time to catch the pebble before it struck her in the face. She was confused as to what Esther was doing until she saw Esther approaching to strike her with her fist. Josanna bent down and the fist went just above her nose. She attempted to counterattack by swinging a roundhouse, but Esther anticipated it by blocking with her arm. They continued to trade punches and kicks, but neither could get the edge. However, as the battle wore on, Josanna's endurance was beginning to decrease. As her fatigue set in, she made one misstep which allowed Esther to sweep her footing. Josanna attempted to bounce back up, but as she opened her eyes she saw Esther's fist right in front of her face. Esther then wound up her fist and Josanna closed her eyes anticipating a painful blow, but Esther had no intention of hurting Josanna. As her fist came closer to Josanna's face, she stopped right before impact. Josanna slowly opened her eyes as the punch never came, and what she saw was Esther moving her fist towards her forehead and flicking it. After their short skirmish, Josanna and Esther continued walking. Josanna felt like a failure after losing the battle.
Don't lower your head in defeat like that. You held your ground against a heavily favored opponent. You should be proud of what you accomplished today.
It's not good enough. I want to become stronger now.
And what is the reason for that?
Because I'm tired of hearing those stories the tale teller reads to us. The heroes in all the stories were all boys.
Esther finally realized why Josanna had been acting the way she was. She wanted to prove that girls were capable of becoming great warriors too.
Esther, I want to be strong like you.
Be patient, young Josanna. Your time will come.
But how will I know when that will be?
That's something nobody can tell you because nobody knows. However, when that time arrives, you will know that you were born for that specific moment.
Josanna gave a blank stare towards Esther and asked her to elaborate on what she meant. However, they had already arrived at Josanna's resting place, so they had to cut their conversation short. Esther and Josanna said their good nights, but as Josanna was running up to the door, she turned back to say one last thing.
Oh, and thank you for not ratting me out to the guards today.
Esther smiled and she had no regret for her actions as Josanna went inside to rest for the night.